Tonight on Joynews Prime, the minority wants the Electoral Commission chairperson cited for contempt for failing to honor an invitation to appear before Parliament to brief MPs on the December election. The majority leader, however, explains the chairperson notified the House she couldn't make it due to other engagements.
She has to be here. Mr. Speaker, I think for the record, it must not be said that the Electoral Commission has refused to attend to this House. Who has sent invitation to them and they have refused? Please, let's be clear when we make allegations.
The National Security Minister, who was also invited, appeared before the House, accusing some political actors of deliberately creating a false notion of insecurity.
An assessment of recent developments in the political space reveals that the false notion of insecurity is fueled by some politicians.
Some mobile money operators at Wali are not so sure about the security situation as far as their operations are concerned and have decided to close shop earlier than usual following recent attacks on some vendors.
So now we are not scared. At the time we close, now we minimize our time. Immediately or before 7 we close. But we are not scared. We don't know what will happen next.
In business,
the Ghana Agric Workers Union demand cancellation of the National Farmers' Day celebration, stating that the funds could be put to better use.
The question we have been asking is, when you declare the place that day a public holiday in the name of the farmers, to what extent does the public holiday go to help the farmers?
Also in the bulletin, would hit the campaign trail to find out what the various candidates have been up to. And then there's also the Upper West mysterious umbrella rock. What's the story behind it? My name is Israel and Joynews Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokolimbe here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu wants the Electoral Commission chairperson Jean Mensah cited for contempt over her failure to appear in Parliament Thursday to brief MPs on preparations toward the December 7 elections. The National Security Minister, IGP, NCCE boss, National Media Commission officials and civil society organizations were all in the House to brief MPs. The EC boss was however absent, even though the leadership stated Wednesday she had been invited. Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak accuses the EC boss of repeatedly shying away from Parliament.
Mr. Chairman, that is not fair. We need to be told where is she, and she must be someone. She cannot refuse to appear before us. She has consistently avoided this House. It is not fair that we allow this to continue, Mr. Chair. We need to be told she has to be someone to be here.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says the EC boss should explain to Parliament why she shouldn't be cited for contempt. But Majority Leader Oseche Mensah explains the EC boss had other engagements outside Accra, which is why she couldn't honor the invitation. He says she will appear before MPs on Saturday morning.
With her, that certainly she has to be here. Mr. Speaker, I think for the record, it must not be said that the Electoral Commission has refused to attend to this House. Who has sent invitation to them and they have refused? Please, let's be clear when we make allegations. Please, refuse even today. When we were talking, we listened to you. Why would you have patience to listen to others? See?
You're out of order.
That's why
you're out of order.
He doesn't even know the normal processes.
You're out of order.
The letter was sent by the clerk. The letter was sent by the clerk, and that's how it should be. It's not me. If it's going from Parliament, it's the clerk who sends letters. So you make unnecessary allegations without even knowing the real thing to do.
If you have made up your mind, then don't let us argue.
Mr. Speaker, so people should not be making such allegations. This is a house of records. You speak to facts. Mr. Speaker, Saturday, that is subject to the approval of the House, the EC will be here to respond to the very pertinent matters.
Well, the Electoral Commission has issued a statement regarding the failure of the chairperson to show up in Parliament, and I'll share that statement with you. It says, Electoral Commission ready to meet Parliament to present election 2020 roadmap. And it reads, the attention of the Electoral Commission has been drawn to an article on social media to the effect that the Commission snubbed Parliament's invitation to present its roadmap or plan for a peaceful and successful conduct of election 2020 to the August House. The Commission is greatly surprised by this turn of events, as notice of the said meeting was sent after office hours on Wednesday, the 4th of November 2020. At the time, some Commission members were out of Accra, and this was communicated to the leadership of Parliament. It is also important to note that the chairperson of the Commission has never turned down an invitation of the August House. And it continues, the Commission and its leadership view Parliament as an important democratic institution and have always fully cooperated with honourable members. The Commission is fully prepared to present its comprehensive report to the leadership and honourable members of the House. In agreement with the leadership, the Commission will present its roadmap to the honourable members on Saturday, the 7th of November 2020. And going back to Parliament, National Security Minister Abed Kandapa is accusing some political actors of deliberately creating a false notion of rising insecurity in the country, contrary to available evidence. In a statement to Parliament on security preparations ahead of the elections, Mr. Dapa said crime has actually been on the decline.
There also seems to be a deliberate attempt by certain individuals to create a false notion of rising insecurity in the country. The facts, however, run counter to this false notion. For instance, evidence suggests a reduction in crime levels in the country. It is also important to state that Ghana's commendable management of the COVID-19 pandemic was possible, in part due to the effectiveness of the security coordination implemented by the state security architecture. But I think, Mr. Speaker, this false notion of insecurity stems from the deliberate politicization of issues of national security in the country. And I think it has become more pronounced as we approach the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. An assessment of recent developments in the political space reveals that the false notion of insecurity is fueled by some politicians. These politicians at one moment openly threaten violence should they lose the elections, and at another express concern about rising insecurity in the country. And I think, Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable and must be condemned in no uncertain terms, irrespective of where it is coming from.
He assures the Election Security Task Force has put in place vigorous measures to ensure violent-free elections.
Politicization of issues of national security, which unfortunately has the potential to undermine the efforts of state security agencies. We believe that state security actors have remained resolute in ensuring a peaceful and secured environment for all Ghanaians. And I want to thank the personnel of the security and intelligence agencies for their hard work and also for their relentless efforts in serving Mother Ghana. Mr. Speaker, as the 2020 residential and parliamentary elections approach, we believe that the country is confronted with a huge test in the area of election-related violence, given the high stakes involved in competitive political contests in Ghana and also on the continent. Even, Mr. Speaker, even when there's a common goal to be pursued, the very nature of democratic politics creates disagreements resulting from our political differences and interests of competing political parties. But, Mr. Speaker, the pursuit of our interests certainly should not be allowed to deepen the political fault lines, which, when unchecked, could degenerate into political instability. And I therefore want to sound a clarion call to all political parties, to all other stakeholders, to please uphold unity as the ultimate value that should guide our actions before, during, and after the December elections. Certainly, Mr. Speaker, and truly, it will be self-defeating and also meaningless to pursue our political interests at the detriment of the state. Mr. Speaker, two things, however, give me cause for hope and assurance that we can overcome all these fears.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, however, insists there is some sense of insecurity in the country. On preparations towards the December polls, he warned the opposition NDC will not accept any form of intimidation by the security agencies.
The minister uses the words false notion of insecurity. Yes, there is insecurity in the country, but probably the incidence is not as high as what is being discussed in the public space. I trust his judgment. I've always respected his judgment. He has a very sobering personality. But what we need, and to quote your words, transparency. It is not for nothing that even God, so there is a moral limitation, even God, when it comes to taking life, God decided that he would not be transparent. So, is it transparent? Do you know where you go or when I'll go? If there was transparency, he would put you on notice. So, Minister, there is a moral resolution of it. What we will urge, we will not accept intimidation in the name of national security, and we will not accept intimidation in the name of other forces. I think that the majority leader initiated something. My colleague, the Honorable Yusuf Hussein, supported him when he engaged the security agencies. Deployment of police officers, let it be the IGP and his men, not any other category of men. Then we can hold the IGP and his men responsible for what outcomes we see and we monitor. But be assured, 7th December, get your men right. We are committed to the peace of the country.
Staying with security, mobile money operators at Wali have suspended night operations following a surge in robbery attacks targeting their businesses. They resolved to close shop at 6 p.m. with some closing as early at 4 p.m. It follows the robbery of 2 vendors last Friday on the outskirts of the town. A second incident involving 6 heavily armed men who blocked the Wali to Bolga highway to rob travelers at gunpoint has fueled a growing sense of insecurity in the municipality as the police are yet to make an arrest. Some of the operators have been speaking with correspondent Ilyasu Tanko.
After the incident happened, as of now we are not scared. At the time we closed, now we minimize our time. Immediately or before 7 we close. But we are not scared. We don't know what will happen next. And after that first incident happened, we was all afraid to even attempt to operate or work in the night.
I'm very, very scared. I'm equally also just rounding up to close because normally we sit here up to 10 p.m. But now the latest I can stay here is just up to 7:38, and I'm also gone.
You know, the cases of armed robbery in the municipality is becoming so intense, so severe that all the mobile money vendors, we have to close as early as possible. As early as 6 o'clock p.m. we have to vacate from our location. Failure to close as early as possible, you might be attacked by armed robbers.
The city is not safe. The police, they themselves know their way. But sometimes when an out-of-the case is happening, people will run to their places and tell them that out-of-the case is happening here. They will tell them so many times, but they will not react in time. That's our worry.
And Wali here for this time, we are now in the jungle, or we can't even understand this town for this time. Each time they are robbing, evening, morning, night, afternoon. At any time they can attack. And we have police station here. We have security personnel here. And how come and these things are all happening?
What is it? 9 patrol. So they should, they roaming in the town. And they'll be checking the robbers for us.
As I'm speaking to you, I'm planning to go because I just want to pray and close because things are not going on well as we're speaking.
Some illicit weapons confiscated by the state have been destroyed in a ceremony at the Secondary Prisons Park. The National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons set ablaze the 1,194 weapons confiscated in the Western and Western North regions. Correspondent Nathalia Kwanzaa reports.
Speaking at a ceremony before the incineration of these weapons, Executive Secretary for the Commission, Jones Bote Afle, indicated that about 89.5% of these weapons seized were foreign-made, a situation he worryingly admitted contradicts this year's national composition of 94.9%. He noted that the Commission has taken an aggressive campaign to eradicate the possession of illicit weapons in the country, especially for the elections.
Is to enhance public safety, security, and to communicate to the public that anyone found with illicit weapon will be arrested, will be prosecuted, and your unlicensed weapons will also be destroyed in addition publicly.
The Deputy Western Region Minister, Gift Eugenia Kusi, urged the public to commit to peace as the government does its bit to protect the citizenry. The board chairman for the commission, Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Mansell, charged that the nation can't compromise on its peace. He disclosed that Ghana ranks 3rd in Africa on Global Peace Index, a position he noted should not be traded for anything less.
Ghana has been ranked the most peaceful country in West Africa by the Global Peace Index and the 3rd in Africa. Ghana has also been described as a beacon of democracy in Africa. And this is an accolade we must guard jealously.
In Natalia Kwanzaa's report for Joynews.
Electronics and programming are everywhere. Communication, transportation, health, energy, security, agriculture, you name them. One of the things developed countries share in common is their strong foundation in science and technology. And though Africa is seeking to catch up by leapfrogging using technology, many factors, including lack of equipment, continue to hinder that ambition. Luckily, a device called Babile by tech startup Electronics is making sure Ghanaians ace these fields. On Tech Thursday, Law FM's Kwesi Debra speaks with the brainchild of this device, Eric Obing.
Final year agriculture engineering student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kojo Usu, has a dream.
Ever since I stepped foot in the College of Engineering here in Kenya University, I've had this passion to learn computer programming.
Though the 19-year-old has been juggling with various computer programming applications for some time now, the experience has not been enthralling.
It becomes boring after like the first 2 hours of programming. I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm going to use it for. I know it's something I have to learn because looking at the job market out there, computer programmers are really needed out there. So I want to learn it, but then learning it is just not doing it for me.
The fourth industrial revolution has called for acquisition of digital skills to thrive. The constant interaction with our phones and computers has made knowledge in IT and electronics a necessity. However, Kojo's struggles is reminiscent of the continent's constraints in equipment and trained teachers. Eric Obey has actively been teaching programming and electronics for 7 years now.
One of the things I love doing is teaching. I taught in a junior high school for 5 years before coming to the university. In the university, I got a chance of teaching my friends how to write computer programs, and I've been doing that till now.
Eric has observed passions like that of Kojo's peter out with time.
Most people who are attracted to these fields come in with a strong passion. However, many are unsuccessful because of the difficulty in learning both electronics and programming at the same time. Unfortunately, today we think of electronics more in terms of data processing than just controlling current.
The founder of Tech Foundation Africa has found a strong connection between electronics and programming.
It is almost impossible to do one without the other. Now, these two fields individually take much time to master. So learning the two at the same time is like fighting on two fronts.
In order to make the teaching and learning experience fun, Eric created Mabel,
which actually stands for Makers Beloved. Mabel is a teaching and learning platform that helps absolute beginners and professionals to learn programming, electronics, and microcontrollers easily.
Mabel comes equipped with some sensors and specially selected experiments that can be used to learn basic concepts of programming and electronics.
With Mabel, even a class 4 student can learn how to write computer programs and do some basic electronics.
Black. Okay. For this RGB experiment is mixing the primary colors, that is red, green and blue, based on the intensities that we have. And these intensities are done using the hexadecimal form, and that is done using the code that we have on the Arduino IDE. So if we would want to display something like red, it would be FF0000, and this is seen on the board.
I'm working on a tone pitch follower using the Mabel board. Basically, this experiment uses the LDR, which is light dependent resistor, to give different pitch of sound or frequency of sound. I'm using the LDR, which is the light dependent resistor, to control the buzzer. So the closer I get to the LDR, the different pitch of sound I get. An application of this can be in a security system where you try to prevent thieves from entering a house or tracking thieves.
So hash 00FF00.
The best part of it is it engages the students and they love it. With Mabel, I get students programming in a matter of a week or two. So if you are a student or you have an affinity to learn programming or electronics, I think you should do it the Mabel way.
Reporting for Joynews, Emmanuel Kwesi Debra.
We're taking a break here on Joynews from to bring you business news to stay tuned in.
Hello there, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aitib. The Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, Gala, is demanding the cancellation of the National Farmers' Day celebrations. The union reveals that government spent about 70 million cedis on the annual event. The General Secretary of Gala, Edward Karewa, says in spite of the huge investment, the event is not beneficial to farmers and the private sector. He avers the holiday period has cost implications that can be channeled into supporting the welfare of farmers. He spoke to my colleague Prince Appiah.
Farmer can be directed by legislation to stay at home and rest. When that farmer produce are threatened by bushfires on the farm or rodents and so on, that farmer will know that they are rational human beings. Except those farmers that are receiving awards will not go to farm on that day. Otherwise, almost every farmer will go to his farm. Meanwhile, you have allowed other people who are not farmers to go and sit at home. And you see, that also undermines the private sector, as you said. If you're a private sector operator and you have 500 jobs, and your operations has nothing to do with agriculture, and yet those 500 workers have to stay at home for that day, and yet you still have to pay them because it's a public holiday. You, the private sector business person, you are at loss, because of the public holiday. Meanwhile, we are of the view that the public holiday creates cost. We think that government should let all of us go to work on that day, and then the money that will be generated on that day, 50% of it should be put into a fund. It's now around 70 million Ghana cedis a day when there's a public holiday per our GDP. Now, if it is 70 million Ghana cedis, and you see that 35 million of it should be put in a special fund, whereby farmers can now access it, either with interest, small interest, or with no interest at all.
The Trade Minister, Alan Tremantin, has told Joy Business that the Continental Free Trade Agreement area will take place as scheduled, even though member states have not reached a consensus on the rules of origins. He's been speaking at the site of a working visit to one of government's 1D, 1F projects.
We have consensus for over 80% of the tariff lines. But because trading is supposed to commence on the 1st of January 2021, we are working very hard, that's between the state parties, working very hard so that we can conclude all the negotiations on the rules of origin before the start of trading. But in the event that we are unable even to conclude the negotiations on all the tariff lines, based on the provisions of the AfCFTA agreement, you can still start trading in the products for which rules of origin have been completed.
Now, Godfred Vuga, upon weeks of participating in the Star 787 hash lottery, has emerged winner of the 44th unique prize winner, bagging a whopping amount of 20,000 Ghana cedis. There is more in this report.
At the presentation of the check prize, elated Godfred Vuga said Star 787 hash has proven to be the best in Ghana. For that matter, he intends to stake more to win more in the coming days.
If I believed initially, then I would have been shocked. Because I didn't believe, that's why I'm shocked. And I'm surprised. You will see me here again for the biggest money.
Richard Akotobanfo, who is the head of customer experience at the lottery firm, called on every Ghanaian to be part of this week's special draw, as 20 participants stand the chance of winning 1,000 cedis each on Friday. He also indicated that on Saturday, one person stands the chance of winning the biggest jackpot of 660,500 cedis.
In observation of the Friday Farmers' Day, we have introduced a draw where 20 players stand a chance to win 1,000 Ghana cedis each. All you have to do is to pick your phone and dial star 787 hash, purchase 3 tickets or more, and you stand a chance to qualify to win 1,000 Ghana cedis. This same ticket qualify you for the big jackpot draw on Saturday. And announcing the Saturday jackpot, we have 660,500 Ghana cedis. It could be a life-changing moment.
Well, that'll be it for this edition of Business. We're back at 8 p.m. Coming up next is sports.
Welcome to the Sports on Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith, and we are building up to the Ghana Premier League. Today, The Ghana League Clubs Association, GALCA, will go to the polls on January the 21st, 2021, and the decision was taken earlier at a congress at the GALCA conference room at the Accra Sports Stadium. My colleague Mubarak Haruna was there and has filed this report.
For the first time in 4 years, GALCA have held their first congress at the Accra Sports Stadium. The GFA President Keto Kreku, Vice President Mark Addo, and Executive Council member Nana Odrosaf were all present at the meeting. One key thing discussed at the Congress was the scheduling of the elections, which will take place in January next year on the 21st. GFA President Keto Kreku calls for unity amongst GALCA members.
As we go into our next elections, it's important that we stay as a unit. Different candidates will come up. We have our individual choices, but let us not destroy the League Clubs Association. Let us stay together. We'll have our differences by way of who we think must lead, who must be an executive member. But let's look beyond that. Let's look beyond our individual choices and think about GALCA. Let's think about how to make GALCA strong.
Chairman of GALCA, Kujo Fiano, has been explaining the reason why the elections date is scheduled to next year, and also declared his decision to contest for the elections.
Currently, we are in a major political season, and our elections are always conducted by the Electoral Commission. I don't think the Electoral Commission has the luxury of time now to engage themselves in elections like that of GALCA, and we wouldn't want to use anybody apart from the Electoral Commission. So we want them to finish with the national elections. Even if there should be a runoff, they will have finished with that, so that 21st January we could have our elections.
Are you contesting?
Yes, I'll contest.
Various issues were discussed at the meeting, including foreign transfer fees, gate proceeds, and the presentation of audited accounts. Mr. Fiano is very happy with how the meeting transpired.
I am very happy. A lot of water had passed under the bridge, and the membership appreciated the fact that it wasn't deliberate. We all knew that we have to be accountable to our members. I would say it was better late than never. If we had not done it at all, that would be an indictment on our part. But after all, we've been able to do it, and we've achieved the desired results. They've gone to the accounts. Issues that were bothering our members were put on the floor. We discussed them in details, and we've reached consensus on almost all of them.
The scheduling of the election date was a key thing at the Congress, but time will tell whether members will behave with propriety. For Joy Sports, my name is Haruna Mubarak.
And still at the same event, the president of the GFA, Kedo Kreku, called on GALCA to include women in their executive body. And according to him, the GFA is determined to encourage women's participation in football.
When I walked through the gates, I saw Anita, and my heart was gladdened. Because one of the requests that I want to place in front of the executives and members of this GALCA is for us to expand to include women in not only the executive body of the League Clubs Association, but also as key members of our dear association. Women's football has come to stay, and our desire for affirmative action to encourage more female participation in football across all fronts is still very, very key to us. For which reason, Mr. Chairman, again, I will respectfully ask that on your Executive Council, we make room for women's football, and also let's bring on board all the women clubs, especially at the Premier League level, onto the mainstream GALCA. I hope you would consider this request.
And ahead of the start to the Ghana Premier League, we have more coming. Please join me after 8 p.m. when I come back. We'll have a preview to tomorrow's GPL Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith with this one.
All right. right, time for Showbiz. Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you. How you doing?
I'm well.
It's so nice that we're both wearing white.
Okay, mine is
A bit
off-white.
Off-white,
Yeah.
but we still love it because it's white.
Okay, good.
White. So for, the many people out there who think that, they're thinking that, Adom Praise is not going to happen this year because of COVID. Well, we have news for you. It's happening this year. It was launched yesterday. But this year, it's going to be virtual. But you still have Elder Kwesi Miracle performing virtually. Bernard Amankwa is on the bill. And also Celestine Donko is also on the bill. We have MOG. Oh, that's a sax bossa. This guy, incredible guy. Sylvester Siedu and Men of Worship are also on the bill. And MOG, everybody's expecting MOG to perform. Evangelist Dinah Asamoah.
Okay.
Dinah Asamoah.
But she's not performing that one. It's not a song.
No, I just had to bring that in because, But do you have any favorites somebody that you're looking forward to?
Oh, that'll be Elder Miracle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anointed, that one is anointed.
Yeah. I mean, the songs that he would, the way he goes about the worship will just suck you in, absorb you into it.
Wow.
Yeah, into the realm.
Praise the Lord. You guys, it's on the 20th of November. It's happening on our television channel, especially Adom TV.
So it's going to be a live concert.
Very live,
so you can watch
virtual,
on TV.
Yeah, watch on TV and all that. So that's it for Adom Praise.
Some of us will go there to work. As in, we'll be there to support the systems. So we can see the show live.
Yeah, but for those of you who don't have the privilege, like us, you can just sit home and watch. Let's talk about the Ghana music industry. So there's this guy called Jaredo. He's a Liberian musician. He says that the Ghanaian musicians are doing so well in Liberia, but the problem with the Ghanaian musician is that they don't promote their stuff well.
I mean, they're doing well in Liberia, but they're not
because
promoting.
their music is there.
Okay, so you're saying that the Ghanaian musicians or the songs that they're producing here is doing really well in Liberia.
Yeah, but they themselves don't take the promotion seriously. So he's advising them that, see, you guys are doing well outside the country.
Your songs are doing well.
Songs are doing well. So try as much as possible to promote your works. Go there.
Yeah. It's true.
Collaborate.
I'm sure if they got there, they're going to get,
massive.
excited.
Kwame Yuju was at Liberia sometime last year, and it was massive.
Oh, wow.
Stonebwoy did the same thing. I think a lot of, the musicians should employ
so at least
this.
a couple of them have taken a cue.
They have. So this guy, Gerardo, was speaking on Hit FM.
Yeah, and Ghanaian songs too are doing extremely well in Liberia.
Oh, really?
Every part of Liberia you go, you will hear Ghanaian songs on motorbikes, taxi, radio stations, TV stations. So I was like, this album I'm working on, Prince of Africa, I told my management, I want to complete my album in Ghana. I want to go to Ghana, work with the artists, cause that songs are all over. Yeah, songs are playing all over. But it's still shocking. Ghanaian artists, they are not promoting their brand in Liberia. I would say Liberia, because we listen to their songs. We vibe to the songs, we play their music, but we don't know them. We don't know their faces. We don't know their names like that. So, yeah, that's sad. I think they don't really think on Liberia. Probably just Liberia just small country. Even thinking, but trust me, man, they're doing extremely well in Liberia. The songs.
Wait. Okay. So which artists are bigger, or which artist songs are much more played there?
A lot, man. I can name five Ghanaian artists.
No, I want to hear the names.
Oh, Sarkodie.
Okay, obviously.
Yeah, Sarkodie, Shatawale.
Okay.
Stonebwoy, Kwame Eugene, and King Promise.
All right.
Jaredo. Well, I hope I got the name right. Jaredo. Let's talk about governance. I am not the one talking about governance. One Love the Kobolo is. He seemed to know exactly what the country needs so far as governance is concerned. So He says that...
He said it on the president's show.
Exactly.
Favorite show.
Because I told him that the program is for, you know, leaders.
Yeah.
Just like our president. So he had a little message for our leaders here in Ghana.
What the concerned real patriots of this country in power need to do is find out all the places where we come short as a country. In healthcare, roads, music arts industry, the environment, and choose promising, well-standing people that you know are not depraved and want. In ancient Egypt, which is Africa, when people came there to study, before you get to what you call your master's degree, you studied for over 30 to 40 years to be called a master. The main reason is that you had to prove that your spirit was aligned with the will of the people and that you were getting to a certain position where you're not going to work for yourself. So before you get to that final position where they give you the final knowledge, they have screened your spirit and seen that you are for the people. We need first of all to choose people that we know are good, people that will give their arm for a stranger.
One Love, the couple there. You can catch E-Vibes on the Joynews channel every Saturday, 8:30 a.m.
Before news file.
Before our award-winning news file. I am also an award-winning, you know, there.
Yeah, by association.
You know.
Okay. Yeah.
And also on Joy Prime, every Sunday, 6 p.m., you catch E-Vibes. E-Vibes is
all right.
The ish.
Do you believe that you deliberately pick on me when you come on the show?
No. Why should I do that?
Okay, because there's some people who watch the show who think
and they think that I pick on you. How?
They think all the showbiz anchors come to pick on me.
Oh, started like a bad thing. You should explain to us if it's because it's not.
It's not good to pick on anybody.
Exactly. That's the reason why I said I don't do that. Please, really? I love Pralaye. You have no idea.
NDC think tank Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability has demanded that the Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu proceed with the investigation and prosecution of former President John Dramani Mahama on the Airbus scandal. It has expressed its disappointment to the Special Prosecutor for merging the report on the Japan royalties deal with the Airbus scandal and for his inability to prosecute the former president based on reasons they believe are unfounded and frivolous. Judith Awoche-Tando has more in this report.
For Social Equity and Public Accountability has called on a special prosecutor to go ahead with the investigation and prosecution of former President Mahama over the Airbus scandal if he claims there are issues with it. At a news conference today, Executive Director for the think tank, Mensa Thompson, claimed that the special prosecutor's reason for not proceeding with the necessary investigations are only, quote, unfounded and frivolous, unquote, and has no constitutional backing.
Let us also be reminded that the Ejapa transaction wasn't a full-scale investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. In fact, it was a corruption risk assessment which his office was asked to do. The Airbus scandal is a separate scandal which we all know that he is investigating. So why go and hide the report of the Airbus scandal in an Ejapa corruption risk assessment report?
Mr. Thompson has, however, questioned the reasons the Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu did not treat the Japan royalties deal and the Airbus scandal as two different cases and opted to merge the two reports. To him, this only speaks to the incompetence of the Special Prosecutor.
The spirit in which the office is established is to fight corruption. So if the Airbus is a corruption scandal, and it's a matter under his office and is being investigated in his office, why not go ahead and investigate him? That is one concern. The other concern is the excuse he gives in the report, that his office has identified somebody as government official 1. But because the person is contesting elections, his outfit cannot investigate and prosecute the person. His outfit is waiting till 2021 before they investigate and prosecute the person. And we say that is frivolous, unfounded, and unacceptable. And if you look at the Special Prosecutor Act, the legislative instrument, there is nowhere in that act that says that if somebody is contesting elections, the Special Prosecutor cannot investigate or prosecute the person.
Mensah Thompson, based on the performance of the Special Prosecutor, has however reiterated that he be kicked out of office.
He should be removed from office. We need somebody who has the balls to act when the law requires him to do so. Not somebody who will come and tell us that because of elections he can investigate somebody. Clearly that is frivolous and incompetence.
Judith Awachitando's report for Joynews.
The Progressive People's Party is calling for the resignation of Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta over his involvement in what it describes as stinking deals, like a Japan and the PDS controversy. Speaking at an event here in Accra, running mate of the party, Kofi Samuel, urged President Akufo-Addo not to be compromised by family ties, but have the willpower to revoke the appointment of the minister if he fails to resign.
The finance minister must resign. We are extremely worried that despite the damning findings made against the finance minister by the office of the special prosecutor, the minister has not shown any regret and respect to the people of Ghana by not resigning from his position. According to the special prosecutor, the agreement submitted to Parliament by the finance minister, quote, surrenders the sovereignty of Ghana over its gold mineral resources in perpetuity, unquote. Essentially what the special prosecutor is saying is that the arrangement in the appointment of the transaction advisor was not approved by the Public Procurement Authority with Data Bank as part of the transaction advisors. And secondly, he's talking about money laundering and illicit financial flows because the Ministry of Finance or the Minister of Finance supervised an agreement with Imari, South Africa, but agreed to pay the money, the proceeds, to pay them to Imara, Botswana. And from the report, it is evident that the finance minister exploited and abused his position for private gain. We recall with agony the following controversial and problematic transactions that have involved the same Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. As we speak, the PIAC, Public Interest and Accountability Committee, is on the tail of the finance minister to account for oil money worth $1.5 billion, 1.5 billion Ghana cedis for the past 2 years without success.
With just a few weeks to the December polls, presidential candidates are promising projects with the hope of winning the heart of voters. Independent presidential candidate Alfred Kwame Asiedu-Walker has been making his own set of promises, including the establishment of a planning board and planning committee in every district. He says these boards will include traditional authorities who are custodians of various lands to ensure land acquisition for infrastructural projects are not encumbered. Nicholas Ekoyama has more in this report.
There have been concerns raised over the acquisition of stool lands by the government for infrastructural development. Few weeks ago, the Osu Traditional Council threatened government over Ghana lands that have been confiscated to the state over the years. But Ghana authorities are not the only ones who say that government has taken over some of their stool lands. Speaking to Joynews after some Queen mothers paid a courtesy call on him, independent presidential candidate Alfred Kwame Asiedu-Walker said he will establish a planning board which will regulate the acquisition of stool lands by government.
It's fully on record that my policy is inclusive governance with the chieftaincy in every region. I think it's a known fact, and I've said it and I will repeat it, that we must get the chiefs involved in the development of their communities and their regions. It's for that reason that I've made sure in our policy we included them in the planning board. The planning board, every region and every constituency must have a planning committee. Specifically the planning, the urban planning, the development of those regions, the infrastructure that needs to be done, the community, the hospitals, the schools. After all, they are the custodians of the land. They must be involved in what happens in their community for the good of their people. I've said it too many times that, look, government has no business in purchasing land to build a school, a hospital, or a community good. So it is the paramountcy and the chiefs who should donate the land. So to promote continuity and supervision of those projects, it just makes sense that they must be the ones to direct and to make sure the projects are completed.
The presidential candidate of the NDC is criticizing his political opponents for the rise in violence and acrimony that has dented the country's democratic image. Speaking to the chiefs and people of Aburi as part of his 4-day campaign tour of the Eastern region, former President John Mahama mentioned the voter registration violence and the Awaso by-election violence, among others. Reacting to calls by the chief of Aburi, Utubo Jankwesi II, for the two main political parties to commit to peaceful elections, Mr. Mahama wondered why the higher-ups in society decided to remain silent on such issues.
Na yenu ya nomuso aba na asapa o kache no paso kache omuso na desenya me so mbetie o kasa o kan no na Ghana akoso ayi asomdwe ye de asomdwe fo ya papa o twemu no asomdwe hene ene frem me ameje no yase me ahu brase hene ampa nti ye de asomdwe na ye de nam nti na we de enka ne bebre na medawase na machia ya krofo nyina ene ene ehia ase ne apro no na ene ye de abe ri ahifie ha nti nyame nhyira mu nyina nyame mwa ye ho ban na nyame kan ho anoisi.
Vice President Mamadou Bawumia has also been touting the achievements of the ruling New Patriotic Party in various Zongo communities nationwide, claiming no government has invested this much in developing the Zongos. Addressing the chiefs and people of Ketekrachi in the Krachi West district of the Oti region, Dr. Bawumia stressed that a vote for the MPP in the December polls will mean continuous development for the Zongos, while a vote for the NDC will only result in the opposite.
MPP baye yesi yenyenisa hise yefa Zongo etu budget ebisida Nana Akufo-Addo aye ministry, a whole ministry for Zongo and inner city development. A whole ministry. Sa ministry no na here in Juma koso wa Zongo. Ye the Zongo Development Fund so abekam. If you say afibia ye budget ye the sika ebetusa ministry no na edi puntu Zongo. Edi si da wagana afiwe Zongo Development Fund yafa 40 Zongo students ako Cuba omu ye medicine na omu aye doctors asamba Ghana 40 Zongo students. Next year you have 50 Zongo students no more for ye medicine asamba Ghana.
Now, in order to improve healthcare delivery for the people of Adama in the Okankwe Central Constituency, First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo has commissioned a clinic there. The clinic, constructed in honor of the National Chief Imam, is expected to reduce maternal mortality as well as malaria-related deaths there. Ms. Akufo-Addo has been touring the constituency to garner votes for the governing MPP.
President Akufo-Addo a government bachu hanye ya Okankwe Central na epo keke nyana minu MP ni BP ni afe ya bia hanye jena kai.
I am pleading with you to refer to the good works of the president. For those of you here in Okankwe alone, have you seen the many things he has done for you? If you give him 4 more years, the work he will do will surprise you.
Ni Ghana echakedenche biane bawo kan dum so mi don nyanyi akapa no dum so ni bi ne ba fite washi ani bi fe e ba fite mu chumo epi biane dum so bedon ejake Nana Akufo-Addo ji leader papa neighbor han ne ke dum so ne eti biane free SHS na ka nye fe e ba efe.
Now we don't sleep in Dumso anymore. Doomsor destroyed all the things in our homes. It affected our businesses. But now, there is no Doomsor because Nana Addo is a good leader. He has been able to implement the free SHS as he promised to do. He has done it so well that all children in Ghana can now go to school.
No, esani wofe sure akashi wakeka 7 December ni mofe moateshi neya vote 4 more years for Nana Akufo-Addo, number 1.
This is also the reason why we have to ensure that we don't joke with December 7th, so that everyone will rise up and vote on that day for 4 more years for Nana Akufo-Addo at number 1.
The electorate in the Formina constituency are sharply divided over the MP's decision to run as an independent candidate in this year's election. Andrew Amakun Esiama, who is in Parliament on the ticket of the governing MPP, has filed his nomination with the Electoral Commission as an independent candidate after losing the primaries. Not even President Akufo-Addo has been able to convince him to rescind his decision and has since been expelled from the party. We've been speaking with some of the constituents.
So we believe that what lawyer has done, he can do more with or without the NPP. It's about your mindset. It's about your purpose. So we want him to do more so that we can also have more development here. We have a lot of youth here. We want somebody who can inspire us, and that is what lawyer is doing.
My area, I can't tell of what lawyer Sema has done in my own town. If you take Formina constituency, that's the biggest town in Formina constituency. But not a pin that lawyer has provided for the town. So I can't tell about the development that he's boasting of.
For now, all my intentions is to vote for Christina Amaransen Barapu, the woman. Why? Because if you compare her to even the incumbent parliamentary candidate, the member of parliament right now, who is representing the constituency, I think she's already doing a lot. She has an organization called Crystal Foundation. And what this organization does is it grooms young people. Like if you intend to learn a trade, a skill, this woman picks you up and then puts you through it for free.
We voted for lawyer Andrew Amakun-Esiama last 4 years, and yet still he's not delivering what we expected from him. And now he said he's an independent candidate. Because we cannot follow him. We follow him because he was an MPP man. Now he's not more in the party, so we can't follow him.
Me a former NDC branch chairman, and I make us say. And when you me who put in Jumana, I say no. Jenna Bobo in Chidom, so we are NDC, so we are MPP. And year 2020 there, so we are NDC no, so we are MPP no. Yenaya Kwama, lawyer Andrew Esiama.
When you go to school and you don't have after completing the school and you don't have the requisite job, but if you have the skills that you have been trained of, it's easy for you to engage in your small business, of which it can earn you something day in and day out. And this is what Ama is doing.
President Nana Akufo-Addo says he felt respected by the decision of the MP Andrew Amakun-Esiama to run as an independent candidate. The constituency is the focus of our election headquarters show on Joy FM this evening, the battleground. You may want to tune in to that. Now, Ghanaians have ranked the NPP administration's performance as higher than the former NDC administration. This is contained in the latest survey conducted by the National Commission on Civic Education, NCCE. The survey, which sought the views of 9,541 citizens across the 16 regions, found that education, health, and employment are the topmost matters of concern to voters ahead of the December 7 polls. On their performance in these areas, Ghanaians scored the NPP 60.2%, whilst the NDC obtained 50.6%. Analyzing the report with Daniel Dazi on Prime Morning, Director of Research at NCCE, Dr. Henrietta Asante Sapong, revealed the reasons that respondents gave for their ranking. First is education.
On education, with the scale that we use, we had the NDC having an average score of 2.75, with the NPP having an average score of 3.31. On health, we had the NDC scoring 2.69 from our respondents, and then NPP scoring 2.82. The margin is very, very slim. And then on employment, our respondents scored the NDC 2.17 averagely, and then 2.92 averagely for the NPP. We went further to also explore the reasons given for higher. This is average. So of course we had a proportion scoring each government a higher score, a higher rate, and then some scoring lower rates. So for the NPP on high score when it comes to education, they were praised by the people for implementation of the free SHS policy. It's a positive one, and so it received higher scores. Higher score, that is scores between 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. And then on the lower side, the issue that came up as the main reason, lower is between 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. The poor implementation of the free SHS policy came as the #1 reason, and then the general decline in quality of education due to the double-track system. Mm-hmm. We didn't go further to ask our respondents to explain what they mean by quality. But the ordinary person feels that the double-track system has the potential of making our education not one that is of a high quality. For the NDC on education and receiving high scores, the reason was that there was addition of significant number of educational infrastructure during their tenure. And scoring the NDC lower, the reasons were the fact that there was high cost of education during their tenure, the lack of policy to deal with challenges within the sector. That's for education.
On health, Dr. Henrietta Asante-Sapong indicated that Ghanaians praised the NPP government's effort in managing COVID-19.
Can I go ahead and mention a little for health?
Healthcare, yeah.
For health, NPP received higher scores with these reasons, that there has been effective management of the NHIS, and then effective management of the COVID-19 pandemic also came up as a very topmost reason why they scored higher. Then on the low side, the inability of the administration to address healthcare needs of some sections of the population generally, and then the seemingly lack of infrastructure in particularly rural areas within the country came up. For the NDC, the construction of a number of health facilities gave them a very high score from our respondents, and then a cross-section also felt that the NHIS was even more effective during the tenure of the NDC. Those who scored lower for the NDC, that section of the respondents who scored lower also indicated otherwise for the NHIS. They felt that the NHIS was not better. So there's some level of contradiction, but the population or the respondent population was different.
She said Ghanaians are happy with the introduction of NABCO, but showed aversion towards the collapse of some financial institutions.
Employment and NPP receiving high scores, the reasons given were the fact that there's increase in youth employment opportunities relative to the NDC government, and then the government has performed generally well in terms of providing employment opportunities, looking at the NABCO. And then on the lower side, the reasons were that there has been collapse of a number of businesses and financial institutions. And then the ban on galamsey is one other reason that was given by our respondents. The NDC was scored higher on employment for establishing a number of companies during their tenure. And then recruitment within the public sector, from our respondents' perspective, was more during the tenure of the NDC. And then at the lower side, the inability to create employment opportunities, and then the collapse of some businesses as well during their tenure were some of the factors that came up.
With 32 days to the December elections, political parties are firming up their campaigns to grab more seats in Parliament. With the likelihood of flips and strongholds quite high, no seat is safe. One of such constituencies is Awaso West Wogon. Having been held by the NPP for the past 16 years, new dynamics emerging are giving actor-turned-politician John Dumelo hopes of nicking the seat from incumbent Lydia Seyram Al-Hassan. He's been speaking with my colleague, Manuel Coranting.
Being there for the people, catering to their needs. I mean, I've been catering to their needs ever since I won the primaries. You know, I've created a lot of employment in the constituency. I mean, if you talk about the farming, the mushroom farming that I started, you know, it's created a lot of employment so far. That's the first one. The second one is the loans that I give out to women since day one. I mean, as we speak, I've given to over 300 women, and over 300 families have been, you know, transformed. You know, across the constituency, and so I have equally been doing the same. I mean, the COVID time, I shared foodstuffs across the constituency. I've been doing
pretty much a lot of the things that your contender has also been doing.
Yeah, but I'm not the MP yet. So if we are doing literally the same thing, that should tell you that when I become member of parliament, I'll definitely do more.
It's Newadako, a more experienced politician than you by miles. Well, he lost. There's been DKB, he lost, and there's you.
And there's me who win.
Because of what?
No.
What's giving you that confidence?
Because I know and I'm listening to the people and I'm catering to the needs of the people, and that's exactly what will make me win.
Is that to say that the previous candidates of the NDC have not been doing what you're doing?
No, they did tremendously well. But right now the wind of change is blowing. That's what I'm saying. I come with something different. Everybody have their own campaign styles. I come with something different, and I'm not just here bragging. I'm talking about what I've heard the people say. That look, John, we are going to vote for you because we need you to represent us in Awaso West Wagon.
There's a very serious talk about monocracy in the Awaso West Wagon constituency. The evidence, or if you like, what is happening, say that what the MPP's candidate is throwing money at the people, and same as the NDC's candidate also throwing a lot of gifts. We are giving laptops, we're giving cash loans and so on and so forth. That's you know, that you don't agree that's some level of vote buying?
No, I'm giving you loans, so you're going to pay back. So you see, when you listen to the people and when you listen to the electorates, and you ask them what they need, and they say, look, I want my business to grow, and you ask a student, and the student says, look, now everything is online, I need something to be able to enhance my learning online. And I say, okay, fine, if that's the case, I'm not going to wait till I become member of parliament before I give you a laptop. Let me start giving the laptop.
That's different from vote buying?
No, that's not vote buying. I mean, it's about, okay, I don't want to say, oh, you're a member of parliament, we are not and I'm a member of parliament, we are not mama loan, now they're a business. If I can afford it, which I can give you the loan, you pay back the same money I give to somebody else. We are helping. It's the same money that is circulating around. At the end of the day, so many thousands of people will be affected positively, and that is what I'm here for. I'm here to represent everybody.
Now, attending dialysis sessions twice every week has completely taken away everything from 30-year-old double kidney patient Felicia Ayamga. The former laboratory technician would need $35,000 to undergo surgery to replace the failing kidneys. Love FM's Kwesi Debra visited her at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital and brings us more.
My name is Ayamga Felicia. I'm from Upper East region. I've been sick for 1 year for kidney disease. Started last year, that was 2019. I started growing lean, so I did some checkups and we realized that it was like that. So they have to refer me to Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Doctor went to me, sorry, went to me. Immaculate, I am immaculate. You ban Felicia. Can a bon baby? No, me am born. Me part of us in a point, a more bomb, make a cranny, me ban.
And the money involved is $35,000. I therefore appeal for the whole country to help me so that I'll be able to undergo the surgery. They said I have to pay $35,000. I want want to be well again. I'm tired. I'm tired of the sickness. Please help me. Help me. Obi biara obetimi abo me bia mpacho bo me mo me. Anytimi koye operation na ma bre. Ma da form sa mitimi nya hwe. Pamcho bebre mo bo me.
It is one of the Upper West's leading tourist attractions. The rock with an umbrella shape in the small town of Babile, despite its potential, is not on the list of Ghana's popular tourist destinations yet. Joynews' Justice Beidou has been to the community located in the Jirapa municipality to explore the story behind this rock.
On the outskirts of the Babile township lies a long stretch of rocks. For many of the people born in this small town, like 72-year-old Clement Doma, these sacred rocks are their identity.
We migrated from some areas before we came. When we were born, we came and met the rocks.
It is a town founded on art and in the middle of the slave trade era. The rocks cover an area of about 200 square meters. The overhang on the top is large enough to cover about 10 people at once and provide shade from rain and sunshine. Even though the pivot on which the top rock lies might seem very small, it looks really strong.
To the beginning, during the time of our grandfathers, this place was a hiding place for people, particularly during the slavery time. So some people have to come to hide here for shelter. There were some animals, hyenas, elephants, or what used to be here.
Like many of Ghana's tourism potential sites, this one is undeveloped. The road leading to it is untarred and dusty. The people here want something done about that.
You people have just come to see, to observe, to see the rocks. People travel in and out. You come to see the rocks. We are thinking that some NGO could come to help to fence the area.
So next time that you think of making a trip to the Upper West region, put the Babile Umbrella Rock on your bucket list of places to see. Justice Beidou, Joynews, Babile.
We'll take a break now to bring you more business. Stay tuned.
It's now time for business. I'm Charles Aite. Now, the Ghanaian and African business community in the U.S. is on the edge as they balance the implications of the unprecedented elections between President Donald Trump and his Democratic rival, Joe Biden. My colleague Sandra Esinam Afenu is in the U.S. state of Indiana and has been speaking to one such shop owner on the implications of these elections on her business.
What would a re-election of Trump mean for immigration issues and trade when it comes to Africa? And an election of Biden, what would that also mean? We're here at an African store at Indianapolis in Indiana to find out from Africans what they make of the U.S. elections and who they are rooting for.
Honestly, a re-election from Trump, with the way things are going with, minority businesses, mainly black businesses, it's not looking good for us. We have friends who have businesses they have to close because no type of income. I feel like he's really failing us.
Is it about tax issues or it's about, when you're bringing in the goods from Africa?
Mainly tax issues, even bringing stuff in from Africa. It's so hard and it's so expensive because you guys know it's stuff that we need from our home, but you guys are making it so difficult for us to have access to it. It's not fair. But you can add, at this point, anything he throws at us, we're not really surprised.
I'm sure you'll be disappointed if he wins.
What can I do? I'll go home and cry. Up to us to make sure he's not re-elected.
Especially Ghanaians and Nigerians have been coming in here and I've been trying to talk to them to ask them what they make of the U.S. election and then also re-election of Trump and election of Biden, which way do we want it to go and what does it mean to them? It's been difficult getting a single person to talk to, but key to them has to do with immigration issues. Some tell me that they are still fighting for their immigration papers. The economy and taxes are issues that they're having to deal with. Some have already voted, they told me, and others don't have the right to vote because they are not citizens yet. But I mean, it's a big concern to so many people. Immigration issues for Africans in America, it's a big deal, and Trump is a no-no for them when it comes to these elections. I'm Sandra and I'm reporting for Joy Business here at Indianapolis in the United States.
Well, of course, we've had independent power producers threaten to, shut down power plants due to specific debt owed them by government. We have computed all the concerns in this piece of our quick take.
The fact is that we cannot guarantee supply of power if the monies are not paid or if the debt is not settled. That is the real fact. Yes.
Days or weeks?
In the next few, just you can talk from today. We can't guarantee.
And that's it by way of business. Gary L. Smith is up next with sport.
Hi, it's Gary again with the second part of the sport. Thank you for your time. Tomorrow is Friday. I'm sure you know that already. But it's not just an ordinary Friday because we have the second edition of the GPL Primus. It's the Asante Kotoko edition and it follows the Hearts edition from last week. My colleague, Michelle Aquino, has been looking at how Asante Kotoko got the name Fabulous.
Asante Kotoko say!
A record 23 Ghana Premier League titles, the only Ghanaian club to win the CAF Champions League on 2 different occasions. The Porcupine Boys are affectionately described as fabulous, but have you ever spent a thought to understand the origin of the name? History narrates in the 1959-1960 season, Kumasi Asante Kotoko were the pride of the Ghana Premier League. Out of 14 Premier League games, the Porcupine Warriors lost only 3 games, winning 11 while scoring a blistering 45 league goals and conceding just 19. The quality of their football and output was so admirable, journalists coined the phrase fabulous whenever they wanted to describe the football porcupines of the Ashanti Kingdom. There you have it. But how did the club's slogan Kom Apema Apembeba come along? The club was formed in 1924 by Kwesi Kuma, who named the club Kumasi Rainbow. But 2 years later, the proposal to rename the club as Ashanti United was accepted. However, 5 years later, in the year 1931, the club experienced another name change. Asante Kotoko in 1934 changed from Kumasi Titanics to Mighty Atoms. Finally, on August 31st, 1935, the club was officially inaugurated as Kumasi Asante Kotoko, after a teacher, popularly known as Teacher Frimpong, petitioned the then Asante Hene to name the club Kotoko. So it can be assumed the slogan Kom Apema Apembeba, which means if you kill 1,000, 1,000 more will come, got associated with the club after the Asante Hene approved the club being named after his kingdom.
Last week we had Chapter O in the studio. Will we have these guys in the studio tomorrow? Why don't you watch at 10 p.m. to find out? Well, moving on in the Ghana Premier League, Dreams FC's new signing, Abel Manomi, is optimistic he will have a huge role to play in the still-believed club's quest for a league title. Winfred Dormon's side secured the services of the former Great Olympic striker and also added Joseph Esso, formerly of Hearts of Oak, and Ajeni Mboating to their setup. Manomi now says his desire is to help the team to the very top.
Dreams FC ended the truncated league in 13th place, picking up just 16 points from 15 games. As a result, the team were active in the transfer window, signing 7 players. The first of which was Abel Manomi. The former Heart of Oak youth product joined the Still Believe boys on a 2-year deal and has been full of praise about the environment that has been created in the team ahead of the new season.
Well, I think it's a beautiful environment looking at the players that we have. We have a lot of talents, a lot of experienced players fused together. There is great team harmony, and then we had a really good pre-season, 6 weeks of intense pre-season, and you could see that we've really lost a lot of weight and a lot of calories working hard to prepare for the league ahead. So I think I'm happy to be here, and I'm hoping that with the objective that I came with the aim of the team for the season, I pray that things works better, and then gradually all of us will win at the end.
Manomi caught the eye of many during the 2016-2017 season with Great Olympics. However, he suffered a long-term injury and went under the radar. A great performance at this year's Gusa Games, which saw him score a record 10 goals in 10 games, attracted interest from the Daube side. Now a Dreams FC player, Manomi is aware of the competition in the side from the likes of Ajeni Mboating, Emmanuel Okran, and Joseph Esso. However, the 25-year-old is optimistic about his chances.
Well, if I could recall, the coach's theme for the season was that everyone should put the team first, and if you're not ready, you turn around. I keep saying that I'm more of a team player. The main focus is Dreams FC and not myself, but with the inclusion of strikers we have Ajeni Mboating, we have Ali Hafiz, we have Emmanuel Okran, we have Joseph Esso and myself. I think the blend for this season will be something big, and gradually our coach is working us towards it, and we hope that with hard work, gradually like the tortoise will get to our destination.
Dreams FC traveled to Accra to face Interlights in the season opener, and Manomi will be looking forward to play a role in that game and beyond.
From Accra to Kumasi, and Asante Kotoko legend Malik Jaber would have wished to have had Asamoah Gyan in the Porcupines set up ahead of the new season. He believes that the general captain of the Black Stars will struggle at his new club, Legon Cities.
It adds so many things. One, is now going to tell the rest of all those who went outside and never came back, is to remind them that when you go and you are nearing completion, come and end it in your home. This is what it has added, without any shame. Yeah. Number two, it will again boost whichever team that got Asamoah Gyan. If he were to be lucky to have his own stadium, he will make more money than the rest. Everybody will want to see Asamoah Gyan. If we look at our days, because of a single player, a lot of people used to come to the stadium. Yeah. So it means that thing will come back again. Because of certain players, people will now wish to see the game.
So for you, his comeback is good for the local league?
It's good, but I wish he had come to Kotoko. Because I've seen his heart is with Kotoko. But maybe we don't have money to take him. So I don't know how. But I wish maybe he came to Kotoko. If he had come to Kotoko, he would have had things much easier. But I'm going to struggle in that small team.
Why do you think he's going to struggle?
He will struggle because he's in which team? City, eh?
Legon Cities.
Legon City. Who knows Legon City in Africa? Who knows Legon City even in our hierarchy? Those who come up, no? They are now struggling to come up. It's a new team. It's not their fault. They are a new side, struggling to make it. So it means he will struggle there more than if he had come to a bigger club.
This is an interview you want to watch in full. And you can see that tomorrow on the GPL Prime at 10 p.m. hosted by Muftar Nabila Abdullah. We have coaches, we have a Ghana Premier League legend who was a prolific scorer for Asante Kotoko in the late 2000s. Can you guess who? He will be our guest for the show, plus a lot of Jama as well. I'm Gary Al Smith, and that's the sport for now. Let's do this tomorrow. Meanwhile, follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Joy Sports GH. Thank you for your time.
Right, I'm Israel Aye, and that's it for Joynews Prime for today. Up next, we're bringing you PM Express. Do stay tuned in.